the day my parents gave my boyfriend to my sister, was the day I learned that sometimes the people who are supposed to love you the most can hurt you the deepest. My name is Emma, and for most of my life, I lived in my sister Olivia's shadow. She was the golden child. My parents admired everything about her. Her grades were better. Her confidence was stronger. Her dreams were bigger. Every family gathering revolved around her achievements, while I sat quietly in the background. Over time, I accepted that I would never be their favorite. Then I met Ryan. For the first time, someone looked at me as if I mattered. Ryan was kind and thoughtful. He listened to my stories and supported my dreams. We spent 3 happy years together and talked about marriage almost every day. I truly believed I had found the person I would spend my life with. My parents seemed to approve of our relationship, so I never imagined they would become the reason it ended. Everything changed after Olivia graduated from college and received an opportunity to work for a prestigious company in another city. One evening, my parents invited us all to dinner. At first, everything seemed normal, but there was tension in the room that I could not explain. Then my father cleared his throat and said he wanted to discuss Olivia's future. My mother began praising Olivia's career and the opportunities waiting for her. Suddenly, she turned toward Ryan and said Olivia needed a strong, supportive partner beside her. I felt confused. Then Olivia smiled at Ryan in a way that made my stomach twist. A few seconds later, my father said words I will never forget. He told Ryan that he believed Ryan would be a better match for Olivia. The room went silent. I thought it was some kind of terrible joke, but nobody laughed. My parents were serious. They were actually asking my boyfriend to leave me and be with my sister. Ryan looked shocked and immediately rejected the idea. I wanted to believe that would end the conversation. But what I did not know was that my parents had already chosen my sister's happiness over mine, and that decision was about to change my life forever. In the weeks that followed, my parents continued pressuring Ryan. They constantly spoke about Olivia's bright future and how successful she would become. They made it sound as if being with her was an opportunity that could not be ignored. Ryan resisted at first. He told them he loved me and wanted a future with me. Hearing those words gave me hope, but slowly things began changing. His calls became shorter. His messages became less frequent. The excitement we once shared started fading. Every time I asked if something was wrong, he insisted everything was fine, but I could feel the distance growing between us. One evening, I finally confronted him. I asked him if he was having second thoughts. He stayed silent for several seconds before lowering his eyes. That silence told me everything. A few weeks later, he ended our relationship. He claimed he was confused and needed time to think about his future. I was devastated, but the real heartbreak came months later when Olivia and Ryan announced their engagement. My hands shook as I stared at the announcement. The man who once promised to spend his life with me was now preparing to marry my sister. My parents celebrated as if nothing painful had happened. They spoke about destiny and how perfectly everything had worked out. I felt betrayed by every person I loved. After the wedding, I cut contact with most of my family. The pain was too much to bear. For months I struggled with loneliness and self-doubt. I questioned my worth and wondered why I had never been enough. But eventually, I became tired of feeling broken. I decided that if nobody else believed in me, I would believe in myself. I focused on my career and worked harder than I ever had before. I enrolled in professional courses and spent countless nights improving my skills. Slowly, my confidence returned. Years passed, and my life began transforming in ways I never imagined. I started my own business and watched it grow beyond my expectations. For the first time, I felt proud of myself. Meanwhile, Olivia and Ryan's marriage was far from perfect. The career and success they had chased never arrived the way they expected. Financial problems began appearing, and arguments became common. The perfect future my parents once imagined was slowly falling apart. Then, after 7 years of silence, my phone rang. It was my mother. Her voice sounded weaker than I remembered. She told me the family needed my help, and what happened next would finally reveal how much they regretted their decision. When I met my family again after so many years, I hardly recognized them. My parents looked older and exhausted. Olivia looked unhappy, and Ryan seemed weighed down by regret. We sat together in silence until my father finally spoke. He admitted they had made a terrible mistake. Hearing those words felt strange, because I had waited years to hear them. My mother started crying and apologized for choosing Olivia's future over my happiness. Then Ryan looked directly at me and said he was sorry for everything. He admitted that he had allowed ambition and pressure to influence his decision. For years I imagined this moment would feel satisfying, but instead, I felt calm. The truth was, I no longer needed their apologies. During those years apart, I had built a life that belonged entirely to me. Their approval no longer defined my value. My mother explained that Olivia and Ryan were struggling financially and hoped I might help them. The irony was impossible to ignore. The daughter they once overlooked had become successful, while the future they sacrificed me for had collapsed. I listened carefully, and then politely declined. Not because I wanted revenge, but because their choices were not my responsibility. For the first time in my life, I chose my own peace over other people's expectations. As I stood up to leave, I realized something important. The greatest revenge is not hurting the people who hurt you. The greatest revenge is building a life so meaningful that their betrayal no longer controls your emotions. I walked out of that meeting feeling lighter than I had in years. The pain that once defined me had finally lost its power. Today, when I look back, I no longer focus on what I lost. I focus on what I gained. I gained strength, confidence, and self-respect. My parents believed they were securing a better future for my sister, but life taught all of us a different lesson. Success without loyalty means very little, and ambition without integrity eventually falls apart. Sometimes betrayal feels like the end of your story, but it can become the beginning of something greater. Losing Ryan broke my heart, but it also pushed me toward becoming the strongest version of myself. In the end, I did not need revenge, because life had already delivered justice. All I needed was the courage to move forward and never look back.